Hello and welcome to the Growing Green Landscapes Podcast with Jeremiah Jennings. While still in his early 20s, Jeremiah already runs a successful six-figure lawn maintenance company. Listen in as he and his guests share the things that have brought them success that can help you in your business. As a young entrepreneur in the green industry, Jeremiah emphasizes the tips and tricks involved in running a lawn maintenance business while discussing the principles applying to all small businesses. If you're wanting to grow, become profitable and professional, you're in the right place. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Jennings.
What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode today here on the Growing Green Podcast. This is your host, Jeremiah Jennings. We are super excited to be coming to you with a fresh new episode today. And as always, but I say as always, but really not as always. I mean, we always try to say thank you here at the beginning of the shows, but I really mean it. I don't want to ever get monotonous and just think, oh, he just says thank you just as a part of his routine to get in the show. I mean, that is what we do, but it's because I really mean it, and I really am very appreciative for every one of you listening into the show and supporting us here at the Growing Green Podcast. We are growing at a rapid rate here recently. Spring Rush is here, man. I think everybody's checking it out, and we're getting promoted to some bigger platforms, and some more people are finding out about us. So if you're new to the show, thank you for tuning in. We kind of did a little debrief on the last show about two shows ago, about who Growing Green is and how we got started. So if you want to go back and listen to that, go ahead and do that and get caught up to where we are today. But today we're not going to be going solo. We have an awesome guest interview coming to you. And it is none other than Calvin from No-Mow Worries in Texas. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. How are you, Jeremiah?
I am good. Now, is that the actual name of your company, or is that just your Instagram handle?
No, that's the actual name of my company, No-Mow Worries.
That's awesome, buddy. I love that. That's good branding. It's very unique, for sure. Where did you kind of come up with that name?
Well, it's a long story behind it in a ways, but it's something I prayed about, and I just felt that in due time, once I fully transition over to my lawn care business full time, I won't have any more worries. I just feel that I prayed about this business and God gave me peace about it, and I named it No More Worries. And I thought it was kind of unique, and I was kind of proud of the name. But as time came along, I started to see maybe I wasn't the first one with it, and stuff like that. So I kind of run across a few other companies named that, but in my area, I'm the only one, and it's DBA'd, or I got a DBA on it, and it's kind of unique because a lot of people just call because they like the name.
No, yeah, for sure. I think that's a really good use of words there, and I think it's a really cool story behind it as well. If I saw it on the map, I would probably call it because it interests me. That's a good looking name there on the tag, on the Instagram, on the Google My Business, and everything that goes along with that. So, well, Calvin, man, tell me a little bit about yourself and how No-Mow Worries got started, and kind of just a little backstory and kind of just whatever you feel like sharing, man. Take it away.
Okay. First off, I'm Calvin. I'm located in East Texas, Palestine to be exact. It's between, I guess you could say, Houston and Dallas. If you see Tyler on the map, it's a little bit south of that. But I guess it was 2017, my daughter had just turned 16 and had just got her a vehicle or whatever. And I was a parent at an early age. And I never saved for college because didn't think of it until the last minute. So she had 2 years till she was actually a junior then. And when I started my lawn care company, she was a junior. So I started it basically to cash flow her way through college and stuff like that, and try to, help out with that. And, at first, I just kind of started by I'm just going to mow some yards here or there. Didn't have any knowledge, didn't have anything, no equipment, no nothing. So went down to the local dealer, looked at some zero turns. Didn't know anything about the zero turns or anything like that. Really wasn't familiar with the lawn care community, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or anything like that back in, I say 2018. This was 2017, sorry. But went down to the local dealer, talked to them about some mowers, kind of gave them an idea of what I was going to do. And had a buddy at the time, and, I always had like a side hustle, I guess you could say. And before I did this, I was kind of in a pressure washing and stuff like that. But long story short, I told him I was going to get the more because I've always talked about mowing yards, and me not knowing any knowledge, I just always seen, like yards, and I'll be like, okay, that's, you know, $20 there, $30 there, or whatever the case may be. So I was like, man, there's some money in the lawn care. So I was like, I'm gonna start it finally. I've talked about it for like 3 years, and like now I'm serious about it. So I went down to a local dealer, looked at a mower, didn't know how to drive a zero turn, didn't know anything about a zero turn. It was a Gravely dealer, so I told him, I said, man, I'm gonna go home and think about it and pray about it. And this was a Friday. I said, well, if I decide to get it, I'll be back tomorrow. So uh, got home, prayed about it. Next morning, got up, and I didn't even have a trailer, but I knew that this is what God wanted me to have with this mower. So went ahead. I went up there with my buddy. He was supposed to get a mower too because, like I say, he was all about this idea until it got serious. And got the mower, signed the paperwork on it. Had to use this trailer because I didn't even have a trailer. I didn't even have a yard to cut. Didn't have anything. I just stepped out on faith. So I got the mower home, and of course it starts raining. Barely was able to get it off the trailer. Like I say, never ridden on one before.
If anybody's ever bought if anyone has ever bought a new mower, I swear you can't buy a new mower without it raining before you get home. At least that's the way it is for me.
Yeah, so I get out and it starts light sprinkling. So I'm like, I've got this mower now. And at the time I did finance it. I had some cash to pay for it, cash, but I didn't have anything. So I was like, let me hold on to the cash. It's 0% interest sounds, real good or whatever. So went with the mower that way and got it home. Like I said, it stopped raining hard and I got out in the yard and I was like rutting up the yard, just tearing it up. I was like, and I mean, the sad thing is it's on low idle. So I get on YouTube and I'm watching one of Brian's videos on how to do a 3-point turn. And I kind of study that. And at this time, I have no yards, but I'm finna have payments coming in about 30 days. So it's time to, get out there and put my name out there. So, of course, I got a YouTube, or not a YouTube, but a Facebook page, start advertising that way. Got a couple bites, but at the time, nobody really, took me serious, and I was like, well, forget this. I'm going to get a trailer. So I went to the local Lowe's, got me a 5x10 trailer. Like, didn't know what I didn't know. Got that mower barely fit on the trailer or whatever. And while I'm trying to get yards, I'm like, okay, where do I go to get information? And at this time, I'm finding Brian, I'm finding Keith Kalfis, Johnny Mow, and stuff like that. But they're kind of established at the time. They're not as big as they are now, but they're established. So I'm using some of their footprint to kind of get my name out there. And of course, I get a couple. I didn't go straight to residential yards, which was odd to me looking back on it. I went straight to commercial accounts.
Wow,
so
that is an odd take.
Yeah, so therefore, like some people, I mean, what you do is your business, but some people kind of had to fly under the radar, when they first start. So with me getting commercial accounts, I had to hurry up and become legit.
Yeah, from day
one.
Me
to go, yes, sir. So that forced me to go get a DBA, forced me to go get an account, all this stuff because they're paying by checks and it's businesses. So I had about 4 commercial accounts, and then the residentials of them people or the businesses, they had homes and stuff like that. So I was doing the homes too. So like the money start rolling in, and I'm like, yeah, good. This is finally paying off. And like I said at the time, I never looked at it as a business when I first started. I'm just looking at, man, I could save up a whole bunch of money and start this late savings for my daughter to get her, through her first semester of college at least. Well, before long, and I have a full-time job that I still hold today because I do this on the side. Some people say side hustle, but it's my business. I treat it like a business. I try to be as professional as I can. I got uniforms. I got business cards. I mean, the only thing is I don't work in my business 5 days a week like it. Well, I do work in it 5 days a week, but I don't start at 8 o'clock in the morning like everybody else. Right now, currently, I have about 38 customers, I think is what I added up yesterday. And I've never looked back. I mean, it's just, at first you're going in and you're scared. You don't know how to bid. I watched a lot of videos with Keith Kalfis. The dude's just hilarious because you just don't have the mindset to to go tell people like prices like he does, but you listen to his story and you see why he's the way he is.
Yeah.
And the whole 10% thing. And then like I'm listening to Johnny Moe about, the winter fund and stuff like this, which I really didn't need a winter fund because I wasn't, I was going to use my full-time job to get me through the winters as far as paying on the mower and stuff like that. So the odd thing is all this happened in the winter of 2017. So I didn't even start in spring or anything. This is like the end of summer going into fall. Turn around the 2018 season. I mean, calls are just coming in left and right, left and right. People are just blowing up my phone, and I'm going out doing bids. Underbid at some properties at the time, and it just, I mean, after work every day, I'm taking my trailer to work. As soon as I get off of work, about 3:30, 4 o'clock, I'm out mowing until I don't have any daylight left. And I did that 2018, and I ended up hiring somebody. And I had paid them cash because I didn't know the knowledge of, going through the process of really hiring them as an employee. There was a coworker of mine, and, he's like, man, what are you doing? I see you come up here every day with a trailer. What are you doing? I'm like, man, I started me a little mowing business. And, a lot of people laughed at first, like, you're not going to make no money doing that. And at the time, I'm like, I don't care what money I make. I got to get my daughter through college, but she wants to go to nursing school. That's my goal as a parent. I have to do that. So after that, I hire him, and like business just takes off. And then, and I guess that's 2018, that full season. I went with him. He started in 19, and then the world happened in 2020. So I ended up losing him. Thought I was going to lose customers, but that's kind of when a lot of people focused on their outside of their yards because they weren't going anywhere. And business kind of picked. At first, it was kind of scary because Texas wasn't like the rest of the world. It wasn't shutting down or anything. It was still, Texas was doing their own thing, and which was good for us because we were able to get out there and make money. But I know some of the ones up north weren't able to do that. So get that going. We come out. I'm actually working by myself, and I'm like, I just can't do this. So at this time, my daughter's in college. She's doing good. Everything. I've achieved that goal, and she's still in college now. She's got about 18 months to finish nursing school. 18 months to 2 years to finish nursing school, and that'll be done. Then I'll circle back to that later, and it kind of is why I'm still at my current job now. But she's in school she's in school doing her thing, and I'm basically just out here still mowing. And at this time, I'm like, I see the money in this now. I see the business side of it, and I'm starting to study more, and I'm running into like Paul Jameson at the time about, know your numbers and this, that, and I see the evolution of Brian because I'm like Instagram message Brian back and forth, like back in 2017 and stuff like that, probably a little bit before that. And I just seen how he's just grown and grown and grown. Not trying to say I idolized him, but I kind of see the guys out here, because local people in your community, or at least in mine, you don't see them making like a lifestyle or a business out of it because you got a lot of guys just out here randomly mowing. It's it's a couple
100%.
big companies or whatever, but it's not like
you got your big name Bright Views, and then your other regional big name companies. But like you're saying, there's a bunch of mow and blow. Just throw a trailer on the back of a Camry and go to town. So
yes, sir. And like I never like around here, you never see people make a career of it. But I'm seeing what Brian and them doing, and I'm seeing the money that I'm bringing in, and I see the taxes I'm having to file on it too. And I'm like, okay, now. After 2020, that with everything going on in the world, I've seen a different side of my current employer that I've been with now going on for 15 years. And I'm like, you know what? I can start transitioning into trying to make this a full-time gig. So in 2020, this is when I really start going professional, getting uniforms or what I consider uniforms, and just, trying to do my best to look at the long run of this, looking at the long goal of it. And I guess now, in end of 2021, I guess 2021 I got married. So my wife now, she's an entrepreneur too, and she's had a side hustle cleaning houses. I guess probably a year, but I guess she started in 2021. So now she's making a transition of going full time cleaning.
Oh, that's awesome,
So
man.
I put my stuff on the back burner. That way she can do what she needs to do. And then later on, she gets settled, she gets her stuff rocking and rolling. Then I can do what I need to do. But another big part of why I'm still at my current employer is because of the insurance. And it's not the insurance necessarily for me, but it's for my daughter because she's a type 1 diabetic. And I've reached out to several independent companies and they just won't insure because she has a pre-existing condition.
Yeah, yeah, that's
And
tough. I know how that goes. My sister-in-law is type 1, and that it's the same. Insurance is key when you have stuff like that.
yes, so until she can actually get out and get her own, I feel that I'm not going to be selfish and just take that away from her just because I have a goal right now. It's still going to come because I feel whenever God says it's my time, I'm going to be uprooted from where I'm at now and put into that position.
100%, man. That's a really cool story. I mean, that you talk about unique and very thoughtful and kind of it sounds. I don't know if you say planned out, but just it sounds like the pieces have fallen where they should have fallen, and you've been really smart, and it's been a good process along the way. Man, a few questions. I just want to dive into that a little more, and
Go ahead.
I think you're an awesome candidate here for a lot of guys out there listening who are young in business, and the guys because you've been in it what now? You said 17, so 4 or 5 years
17,
now.
yeah, well, yeah, my fourth year, and like I said, it's not full time, but the hours I put in, you would think it's full time because, like I said,
Yeah,
I got about 35 yards I do, and around here, yeah, some of them about 5,000 square feet, but I got over a handful of them that's over 2 acres too,
yeah.
a
So you got
piece.
some big
So
property too.
yes, sir.
I know how that goes, man. I totally get that. Are you doing this solo, or are you back solo, or now are you?
Yes, sir. I'm back solo. I had a buddy that last year I had a buddy that actually started up, and I don't see competition in this because I think there's enough grass and enough work for all of us. If if you want to work, you can go out here and find work. So
Absolutely.
he started last year, and a lot of people was curious of why I helped him. And there was one guy that actually I was out mowing a property in Texas. We got St. Augustine and uh, Bermuda and stuff like that. So you really can't strike the property up here like you can up north or anything
Yeah,
like that. You
yeah.
can
We're in
make
the
it look
same
okay
boat.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I was out and I call it striking down here because it's East Texas. So I'm gonna take it from the north and put it down here. And I was doing this in the property, and this guy stopped, and he has a lawn care company, and he actually, I think he went full time in 2017 as well. But he used to mow at the company that I work at for a guy. Well, anyways, he didn't know me, but he just stopped and he brought me a bottle of water, and he said, "Hey, introduce himself and say, hey man, you're doing a wonderful job on this yard." Because half the guys down here, you wave at them, they won't even wave back at you. I don't understand it. But this guy actually stopped, brought me some water, and he prayed over me while I'm actually on the mower.
Mm.
And he said, "Man, if you ever need anything, just let me know," and go from there. Well, anyways, I never seen the dude again except for I guess that was in 2020. Well, I seen him in 2021. He stopped and he had a bad wreck, which he was okay, but somebody hit him, flipped his trailer, messed up all his equipment and stuff like that. Well, the Gravely that I had, he had one similar to it. So he was like, "Hey man, if you ever need parts, I got a mower similar to yours. We can see if the parts fit, whatever." And I was like, that's crazy because I'm in the process of buying a mower because this was 2021. I needed a PTO clutch and I couldn't find one because, a shortage on everything.
Yeah, it was impossible to
So,
find stuff.
so I ended up getting a mower, and the more I got, I was barely able to get it because it was hard to get mowers too. So ended up getting the mower from him and, using some of the parts on it or whatever. Not that I need them, but just some of the ones I thought I needed along the time. And he ended up salvaging the rest of the mower. Real nice dude. But like I said, as far as the people around here and the guys that I've helped along the way, because there's another guy I'm actually helping now that he just started up his business. And not that I know it all, but I try to lead them in, the way that I was led, or lead them to if I can't help them, then I lead them to the YouTube channels or the podcasts that I watch or listen to and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I mean,
that's awesome. So I like that you, everything about that story is just amazing, and it's very inspiring to me to see that you were so thoughtful, and you're still so thoughtful for you to do this, to put your daughter through college, because I know how big of a burden that can be on some kids. And I have kids my age who are trying to pay their way through college and finishing up and coming out of college with $100,000 in debt, and they're never going to make that money back to be able to pay it off. And that can be such a burden on somebody's life. So that's awesome that you're doing that for your daughter, and the fact that you just have the ability to do it. The
yes,
Lord
sir.
has blessed you, and I think you know that for sure, that you have the ability to go out and do that. So let's go back to let's talk some of the business things back in the beginning and even now. But you said you went straight commercial, man. How did that kind of come about? And what was did you have reasoning for going commercial over residential, or did it just happen? And if it just happened, what was your first client?
One was a dentist office in town. How it happened, they just heard about me. Like the name, they just reached out to me, and at the time I had made up some business cards or whatever, and I left them at a couple places. But the first place was a dentist office in town, and then after that I was doing the local Terminex, and it just went from there. And then after that, people were like, I thought I was big time, really, because I was doing some of the commercial properties in town. But I was like, I want the residentials, because I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
And then some of these commercial accounts, you're billing them, and you're like net 30, and it's taking you 2-3 months to get a check. So, some of them were like that, because you invoice them, then they turn around and send it to corporate, and by the time the check gets to you or whatever, it's 60 days.
Yeah, you've already sent out 2 more invoices.
Yeah. So, it was good, but it wasn't. I had, I knew the money was eventually going to come in. A couple places I had problems with, but some of them, I got the check right when I sent the invoice out. It was like 2-3 days later. And then some of them would just bring the check to the house or whatever. And when I mowed their house or whatever, they just give me checks for both of them or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how it happened. But after that, I went to one neighborhood, and the first house, besides them, but the first residential I got that didn't own one of the commercial accounts that I worked on, I went there, and it was pretty much a grown-up yard, and it was probably the only house I had that, wasn't belonging to someone I knew. It was just some random person called me, had a grown-up yard, so that's all I had to do. So I transformed that yard. Their neighbor, while I was out there working, because when you're working, people will come up and be like, "What you charge for this? Can you trim hedges? Can you put down mulch?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is what I want. Yeah, yeah." So I had like 3 or 4 houses, like just next door to each other, just bam, bam, bam. I could just walk to each one of them. I mean, they were just right there. They see me working, and at the time, I wasn't thinking route density. I was just thinking, man, I need the money. I want to work. I want to get my name out there. And the work I was doing, I mean, it was a steal for. I probably paid them to do the work that I did.
Yeah.
But I got my name out there, and it's crazy because that same neighborhood, I have one of those houses still from when I first started, but I got probably about 5 more in that neighborhood or 6 more in that neighborhood. And it's just kind of like learning from y'all guys about route density, and that's kind of where I'm at now. If anything's past 9 miles from my house, how I got the number 9, don't ask me. But anything in a 9-mile radius from my house, I don't take.
Yeah.
And that's helped out a lot, especially this year.
Especially if you're staying solo.
Yes, sir. Yeah, because there's one woman I have, and she's a widow, and I've had her for a few years, and she's like a friend of the family. She's about 11 miles out or whatever, and I do her. But like I say, other than that, everything's within 9 miles of my house, and that's just how I'm going now, And like even now we've had our spring rush, and I've had people call me and price increase letters, and some people, majority of the people I had, because I did one from Paul, and love Paul to death. But some of the house, Paul's all his words and the way that thing was worded was just, professional. You can tell that it was just, and some of my customers were like, well, how about, you just do it normal. And, Paul's all about, we going to, beautify your yard and this and that and the other. And they're like, just do it regular, don't worry about the price increase, just trying to keep somebody for the low. And I'm like, no, regardless, I'm going up.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting Brian's too. And Brian's pretty much basically, this is why we're going up. Nothing against, like I say, Paul's. He's got a great letter too. But Brian's is like, this is why we're going up, underlining costs, blah, 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 blah. And you give that to him. No, this is it. This, no arguing. No, can I get, the less treatment or anything like that? This is what you're getting. This is what you're paying for if you want it. So those helped out, a lot and got a lot of my pricing in line this year and stuff like that. Like I say, I'm still learning, young in business, but I just want to fix my business because I remember a podcast, you were saying that you've kind of had to condense your stuff and let some stuff go because you got the business and you had to work at the time, but like you weren't efficient. And like whenever I transition to be full time, I want it just clockwork. I don't want to have to fix anything. I want to take the time that I have now to mold a business with the knowledge I know and just have a perfect business. Not perfect, but just a
as good as you can get it.
business.
Yeah.
Yes. Before I go full time.
That's really cool. And I think that's the advantage that people that like that are in your situation that are working a full-time job and start this on the side is if you're self-educating and you're watching YouTube and you're listening to podcasts and you're feeding your brain with all this business knowledge and just real life knowledge about how to be profitable and efficient, then I think by the time you are ready to go full time, you're going to be light years ahead of where most people are when they start full time. You're not going to have to go you're going through the growing pains now and earlier on when you realize you weren't charging enough, but you weren't like totally relying on that for your business to stay alive because you still have your personal income. So I think that is the advantage that guys like that have that get to start part-time and then transition to full-time. And it's awesome to hear that you've implemented the price increase and the route density, man. That I'm interested to see how many miles you keep off your truck this year and how much you save in fuel. And you're exactly right. We had the work. We had 85 plus clients. I mean, we were busy. But we weren't efficient. We weren't making money at the end of the day, and we were turning a little bit of profit, but not anywhere near where we should have been with 85 plus clients. We were spending way too much windshield time and it just wasn't efficient, burning way too much fuel. So getting that figured out really, really helped us a lot. And I'm anxious to see, and I can't wait to follow along with you how you grow this year by implementing those things into your company.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's just like y'all say, let y'all floor be our ceiling. And, if people take the knowledge that's out there, then they can make that happen. They can make profitable businesses. They can, enjoy what they do, because the worst thing you can do is get to a yard and know you've underbid that yard and you just don't want to do it the time you own that yard. Hey, I'm not making no money on this yard, but you get to a yard and you're profitable on that yard. You don't mind pulling up to that yard and doing it. But the yards you have that you're not making any money on, it makes you hate them. And it's not the fact that it's a bad yard. It's just the fact that inside you underbid this yard or you didn't bid enough or whatever the case might be.
And that can come back to hurt you in the long run there. And that's a really good point that you bring up is if you get to that point and you realize you're not making money, then you're going to start lacking quality of service. Because I've been in that exact case in that scenario is I've been on yards where I'm like, I'm not making enough money. I cannot sit here and do this yard the way it needs to be done. And I'll take what needs to be a 35-minute yard and turn it into a 25-minute yard and turn too sharp on the zero turn and tear up the yard or miss some blowing, won't blow the air conditioner off, like those little things. And that can really ruin your company and run it into the ground very quickly because your name can get dragged through the mud real fast on social media with nowadays all the technology that we have. You do bad for 2 or 3 clients like that and you do shoddy work and you're just trying to get on to the next one because you're not making enough money. I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, you got to remember you have to do the quality work. And if you don't do the quality work from the beginning, then I don't see your company going very far.
Yeah, that's true. And that's like Johnny Blades of Grass. I think he's in Atlanta. But anyways, he said something a while back and it stuck with me. And what he said was basically that your customers only remember your last cut. You're only as good as your last, service or whatever. So, I'll give anybody that advice, regardless if you're making money or not, at least, go to the customer and try to make up for it or whatever, ask for more, whatever, but don't lack your work because, social media and anything travels fast nowadays, and the last thing you want is a mark on your business.
100%. And let me ask you this: do you still plan on growing this? Like, I mean, I think that I know the answer to this, but like, once your daughter graduates college and stuff, that was the original goal. Do you still plan on going full time and continuing this for the rest of your working career?
Yes, sir. My thing is I've been studying, or I wouldn't say studying, but I've been watching videos, and I would like to at least have a crew to where I can get out of mowing. I don't mind the mowing. I can stand the mowing. Been trying to study a little bit on the weed control and fertilization, trying to learn the aspect of that business and stuff like that, just for later on, having an end goal, because the last thing, I'm 38, and the last thing I want to do is be on a mower for the next, 15 years of my life.
Absolutely.
And one of the biggest things one of the things I'm big on is time. And the American dream, they tell you, hey, if you come work for this job for X amount of years, when you retire, we'll have this great package for you and blah, blah, blah. Regardless of what that package is, your body and your health might not be in a position to even enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like me. I'm looking at a mid game. I think I'm not going to say I'm started and I'm good. I still have a lot of work to do as far as getting this business off the ground and steady and making that transition to full time. But I need to look at a mid game and then like a retirement game too, as far as what is my retirement going to be and how am I going to fund that part of my life too if I'm blessed enough to get to that point.
Yeah.
So it's a lot that I have, or I have on my plate, and especially like this year or the end of last year, I was able to, use some of my profits. I did get a scag last year, and I got it in, I think, end of July. And I know it's not a lot to a lot of people. Some people might get this in a day, but I hit 110 hours on it, and I'm still putting, hours on my Gravely too. But I forgot where I was going anyways. But
No, you're good. You're good. No, I like it. And 110 hours, you're racking up fast. If you said you got that last year?
Yes, sir. I got it at the end of July. And like I said, I was pretty much forced to get it because, it's just parts. And it's good to have a backup, I believe, too. So not that I wanted to invest in it at, last year or whatever, but I think it's good going forward to have a backup and, just going from there. But, I know what I was going to say. I made some investments, last year as far as, helping me get the boat closer to the dock or whatever. Like I say, it's not necessarily 100% about I need to make X. I think everybody needs to find out what their goal is and then work backwards. I think I've heard some podcasts talk about that too.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of what I've done, is, a lot of people, like Paul says, get the boat close to the dock. I'm getting not impatient, because like I say, it's God's timing, but, my flesh is like, come on, God. And, let's make this happen, But yeah, I did make some investment last year, and as far as my business is pretty much debt free. I do have a little bit of personal debt left, but I think that'll be pretty much taken care of, this year, if not mid next year, at the rate I'm going, if nothing changes or nothing happens.
Yeah, man, that's really cool that you're striving and getting that paid off, and man, that frees you up big time.
Because you can go into this and you don't need to make $50,000 or $75,000 because when you don't have any bills, $50,000 or $75,000 is a lot of money, but when you don't have no bills, you can shoot for less. You don't have to worry about all that stuff or anything like that. So
yeah, 100%. Let me ask you this: how does your relationship with your wife work? With y'all both being entrepreneurs, and in different industries, different fields, how does that kind of do y'all get along? I mean, not obviously you're married. I hope you get along.
Yeah.
Hope you're happily married. But
I know what you're saying.
how does that work? What kind of dynamic does that bring upon your marriage? Is it hard to leave work at work? I mean, because I know y'all both you said you have a full-time job and she was getting into cleaning full-time. So how does that kind of
Yes,
dynamic work?
this is actually her last week, and she's one of the main reasons that pushed me into going to Mo. She's always believed in me when I didn't believe in myself or anything like that. Um, when I just thought it was some silly little dream, to make a little bit of cash, and she kind of helped me see the bigger picture. And now, I'm her motivation now. Even though I've been mowing longer than she's been cleaning or anything like that. It's just something she wants to do and something she enjoys doing. And she's like me, we value our time. And she loves her current job now, but she just, she wants to manage her time more and stuff like that. So um, as far as getting along with our working and stuff like that, we're just encouraging each other, always encouraging each other, praying for each other, encouraging each other, and just want to see each other win,
Yeah.
because like Brian said the other day on a podcast, you can't share a win with everybody, but when she's winning at something she wants to do and I'm winning at something I want to do, we can share it with each other.
That's
And then
right.
later on in life, we can share it with everybody else because nobody sees that picture now. They just see two people that, the world is so caught up on you have to go to college, you have to do X, Y, and Z to be successful in life. And I just think, trades it needs to be at least a 50-50 split or something
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a scary dynamic that we're pushing down kids' throats nowadays, and
Yeah, yes, sir.
I don't know where that's going to take us. Let's just leave it at that. I don't think it's going to end up very well for the country, for the world. It's just going to, I think it'll be very detrimental down the long run. Everybody just goes and gets 4 and 8 year degrees and spends $200,000 to $500,000 to do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on.
And before you move on, like I said, I don't want to be a hypocrite. I see both sides of it. Like I say, my daughter's going through college. That's what she wants to do. But for me, I just don't think it's the only option for kids these days.
That's the
If
thing.
that's what they want to do, that's fine. But I don't think you need to force a kid to believe this is the only way you're going to be successful in life. And I understand what you're saying, and I just don't want anybody listening to this to be like, well, he's saying this about college, but he's stories talking about putting his daughter through college. Like I say, I understand both sides. But like I said, it's a difference between somebody wanting to do that and forcing somebody to do that.
No, you're 100% right, and that's the thing that we got to fix is it's the fact that it doesn't matter if you want to do it or not do it. That's up to you. But like the kids need to be educated on, okay, look at these trades that you can go do right now, and you could end up making just as much, if not more, money than a 4-year education. And that's the thing that I think needs to get through our heads a little more, and needs to be in the education system to inform the kids. Just make sure they're properly informed before you say, yeah, just go to a university and get a 4-year degree.
Yep,
So
I agree.
I think we're all on the same page there. Well, man, tell me this: what could you what is one thing, if you go back to 2017 or at any point in your business to this point? What's one thing you would go back and change in your young in business days and stage, and kind of just newbie figuring it out, new kid on the block? What are some things in your company that you would have changed and said, hey, I wish I would have done this differently from day one? I think it would have made you more profitable or kind of propelled you further along the journey.
Okay, as far as when I first started, I think it's instead of jumping out there blind, which, like I said, was faith. I wouldn't 100% change it, but I think educate myself
For somebody
more.
else, that's
Yeah,
really
yeah, well, yeah. It's I would say go out there and get as much information as you can, and just study the craft. If you're going to school, you're paying to go to school. Okay, when you're out here, and if you're not listening to podcasts or learning on your own, watching YouTube videos, the mistakes I made, it was like college. I paid to learn those mistakes. I physically didn't get out and give customers money, but they didn't give me what I deserved because I didn't have the knowledge. So I think people need to soak up as much knowledge as they can if they're 100% about doing any type of trade. Learn the trade, learn how to be profitable. See if you can get you a good mentor that wants to see you win, and get them under get under their wing and learn everything you can about that. And have God as your foundation, because your business or whatever you're doing, I feel that my thoughts, I perceive you're not going to be successful if that's not your foundation. It's going to ruin your marriage. You're going to argue. You're not going to want to do it. And you're going to find yourself back at a 9 to 5 doing something you don't want to do. So, like I said, I just would advise people to study their craft. And that's something I didn't do, is study my craft, which, like I said, I learned, I paid for it. I feel I know a lot more now than I did then, or I know I do, but I don't claim to know it all. I'm still learning every day. As soon as I get off this podcast, I'm going to go watch a couple of videos. I know Brian's doing shop tours now, which basically doesn't have anything to do with my business, but right at this point in time, but one day it might. So
100%. Yeah. I mean, you could learn what you need to do if you get to the point where you are building a shop. So,
yes,
and even if you're not doing that, even if you think you'll never build a shop, just go watch those videos and listen to the guys talk who have those shops and have those setups. Just listen to the language they use and the words they speak and the topics they talk about. That's where you can gain a lot of knowledge, and it'd be very beneficial video. It's just stuff like that. Even if the topic doesn't directly relate to you, just go listen to them and people who are higher up in their companies, have larger scale companies. Just go listen to those conversations, and I think you can get a lot out of that, man. Well, we're going about 40 minutes here. This has been this time has flown by, man. You said, I don't know if I'm going to talk a lot. I don't know, man. You took it away. You crushed this thing, and I think everybody else out here listening has enjoyed it just as much as I have. I hope so. Well, man, I got one final question for you, and it is, what is your why? And I think we know the answer, but I still got to ask it. I want to hear your clear answer.
Yes, sir. It goes back to time. Everybody, I feel, they better realize their days are numbered. And some of us think, you got to live to be 70 to be considered old. You can be 1 month old, you can be 99 years old, whatever it's going to be. But all of us have a time. All of us, have a limited date. There's an expiration on us. So I would consider you to spend this time with the ones you love, and that's what I'm doing. I want to be an entrepreneur. What makes me want to be an entrepreneur is that way I can dictate what my time is. I can use my time how I see fit for me and my family, and I don't have to worry about somebody being like, you can't have this day off because X, Y, and Z's off or anything like that. My why comes down to my time at the end of the day.
I hear you, and that's the mindset to have, man. That's the mindset to be financially free and have a good just spend your time wisely and be able to do the things you enjoy and help other people. And I think you're that type of person that is gonna help others with the things that you get, the rewards you receive. And you never know when your time's coming, man. That's what we talk about a lot. And if you hadn't listened to the last podcast, go check that one out about just the Easter and the crucifixion and our eternity, man. You don't know what your day is going to hold tonight. You don't know what's going to hold 5 seconds from now, a year from now. So definitely you want to have your eternity secure in Jesus Christ. And I know we've discussed that, man. I know you're a man of faith as well. So
just live life and don't wait to live life when you're 70 years old and someone's telling you, hey, here's your 401k. Just live life and enjoy life now is all I can tell people. Start if you're not enjoying life, there's no reason for you not to be enjoying life. Go get out and enjoy life.
That's right, brother. That's good stuff. Well, where can everybody find you on social media if they want to go check you out or connect with you?
The only thing I have right now, I have a Facebook, but I have an Instagram, and it's no_Mo_worries. And basically you can see what I'm doing on there. I don't post all the time on social media. I need to get better at it. I'm working on it, but it's just something that I need to work on right now.
Yeah, man. Well, no, you seem to be posting pretty good. I've been following you along there in a while, and we were just DMing back and forth, and I'm glad I got you on for the show today, and hopefully somebody else out there will go reach out to you and maybe ask you some questions, and maybe you can give them some advice on that startup, maybe going part-time and stuff like that. So I really appreciate your time today, man. I hope you have a great evening ahead.
All right, you too, and I appreciate you allowing me to be on your platform that you built.
Absolutely. I'm honored to have y'all on. And any guest that comes on here is just a true honor for me to be able to bring on and kind of share your story and get your product or your business out there and just try to help other people. That's what we're in it for. And those are the kind of guests we want on. And yeah, we want to promote products and things that are going to help other people, but that's the thing. It might be a good product, but I want somebody who's going to really help other people and give back what they've earned. And the little bit that we've learned and earned over the past couple of years, I just want to give it back because I know I learned so much from the guys older than me and in business longer than me and have bigger voices than me. So it's been an honor to have you on today, man. Hope you have a great evening. Everyone who's listening, thank you all for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, leave us a big 5-star rating and review. Those will really help us and boost us in the rankings to reach a greater audience. I hope you all having a great week. I hope you have a great rest of your day whenever it is you're listening. And we look forward to catching up with y'all here on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in to the Growing Green Landscapes Podcast. We know you have many other podcast options to choose from, and don't take it for granted that you chose to spend some time with us today. You can connect with Jeremiah Jennings at Growing Green Landscapes on Instagram or use the link in the show description. Don't forget to smash the follow button on the podcast and leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. We hope you crush it in your business and hope to catch you on our next episode.